Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
Have you been out every day?
I have, yeah. So we've been on the streets from Monday. Pretty knackered at the moment, but yeah.
Where have you been? Which have you been on Waterloo Bridge or Oxford Circus?
So we decided to take Piccadilly Circus as the youth occupation for the Rebellion Weeks. But that's only been for a short amount of time. We're not holding that permanently like we are at the other sites. But the reason we chose Piccadilly Circus is because it's located in the centre of the four occupations. So we're kind of like the heart of the movement. Because,
okay.
Yeah.
And you're the youth, of course, of the movement.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So you've not been home at all since Monday?
No, I've been camping in Marble Arch. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crikey.
What's
Okay.
the mood like down there? Like among you lot, what's the mood in terms of how do you feel about what you're doing?
Just overwhelmed, to be honest.
Right.
So, like, you know, when I was trying to explain what our plans were to mates who aren't part of Extinction Rebellion before these weeks, like, it just sounded pretty crazy. I almost didn't believe them myself, but they've exceeded even what I thought we'd achieve. It's been
And how did you plan it? Are you allowed to say?
How in terms of what? As in,
Like, so did you have like a social media group, or you know how were the plans made?
We had different working groups within Extinction Rebellion. So,
Okay.
what we call it's not like a hierarchical top-down organisation. It's like people just get involved with different teams, and you're giving a mandate as part of that team, and you just do what you can as part of that mandate. So yeah. Had loads of different people working on this.
Okay, so Sam, how did you get involved? Where did it start for you personally?
Yeah, so for the past 2 or 3 years, I've been really, really scared, just about my future, what the climate and ecological crisis holds for me and my family. But I didn't really see any way out. I didn't see anyone talking about it, just in public or especially in the House of Commons. So I was quite despondent, really. I went to a Labour Party conference actually in August, just not particularly because I was a massive Labour fan, but just to see if they were going to provide an alternative to the government we've already got. Didn't see it mentioned at all. But when I was there, I heard about XR from someone and went to my first meeting in September. And yeah, it's just been, I just got stuck in from there. I took a year out of university a couple of months ago to work on this full time. And yeah, I think it's the best decision I've ever made.
Okay. Now, a lot of people will be listening and saying, okay, you're concerned about the future, you're concerned about the future of the planet. There is still a lot of arguing. Now, whether or not we think that's right or not, but there is still a lot of arguing whether or not it's man-made, the climate change is caused by our emissions, or it is just the Earth recycling itself. There's lots of different variations around. I'm not here to have that argument with you, but what I want to establish is that your concerns and Extinction Rebellion's concerns are based on provable scientific fact rather than what you've been portrayed as, which is just a bunch of people with nothing better to do who have been somehow conned into believing that the world's going to end. Of course it's not going to end. It's just the natural way the world works. Like, can you sit in a studio with people and actually come up with the facts that prove your case rather than I'm just simply concerned about the environment?
Yeah, so I mean, it is frustrating to keep being drawn to the science when the science is so clear about the scale of the crisis that we're facing. I mean, I'm sure you saw the IPCC report last year that said that we've got 12 years left to change our course before basically we have no control over the scale of the crisis that we're in. A lot of scientists have actually said that was too optimistic, that they were understating the threat that we face because they don't take into account various feedback loops, so things that humans have no control over, that the environment... So, for example, we have at most 5, probably 3 years until the Arctic becomes ice-free in summer. What that means is that as ice is white, it reflects sunlight. So when the ice melts and leaves a dark ocean, that the heat gets absorbed rather than being reflected. That will add probably 0.5 degrees extra warming to where we're at, which is 1 degree.
Of course, what's important to
1.5
say,
degrees.
and I think a lot of people miss that point, there's a lot of the predictions and the forecasts that people make. Well, a lot of people point to those and go, you said 0.5 degrees and it wasn't. And of course, what people forget is that it is all dependent on trends, social trends, human behavior. If a lot of people do start using public transport, whether it is electric cars and stuff, you are going to see difference between the predicted numbers and the actual numbers.
That's the point. So
trying to say to people, well, your whole science is wrong because your number is 0.5 degrees out, seems a bit of an odd argument.
Exactly. So that's the point. It is not too late. That is the point that I want to make.
Now let's not get mired by this scientific evidence, because I think that's a discussion for a different time. But let's talk about the action you've taken, direct action, deciding to stop people from going to their work or make their journey a little bit trickier than it would be every day. It is costing businesses money. It is preventing people from earning their livelihoods. It's preventing some people from coming. I mean, you've blocked Waterloo Bridge here. It's right next to St Thomas's Hospital. You are actively preventing people from getting to possibly doctor's appointments. I know you have in your, let's call it a manifesto, that you're not blocking emergency services and ambulances are coming through, etc., etc. But do you think that is the best way to make your point? Do you not worry that people are not going to take the time to think about your message, but people are just going to say, you guys are costing me money, therefore I will do anything to not support your cause because you are costing me money?
No, look, firstly, I'd just like to say we are truly sorry for any inconvenience that we've caused people over the last week. Like, I don't want to be here. I want to be at university finishing my degree. I don't enjoy seeing, the massive disruption that we're causing to people who are just trying to go about their lives. My answer to your point about whether this is the best tactic to do, we've tried everything else for the past 30 years. We've known about the scale of this threat at latest 1990. A lot of people knew before then. And, we tried marches, writing petitions, speaking to MPs. None of it has worked. Now, at the time where we are at a critical point in history where we really need to reverse our course, more, overt direct action is just needed to wake people up. Not enough people know about the scale of this crisis. Doing what we're doing is getting front page news. People are starting to talk about it.
But are they talking about
necessary.
it for the right reasons? And have you also had any response from, I suppose in particular, Michael Gove, he's the Environment Secretary, or any MPs? Have you had any support?
We've had support from various MPs. I think most Green Party MPs are on board with us. I know Clive Lewis from Labour is very supportive. But in terms of responses from the government and those who are actually in power, we haven't so far. I think a big reason to do with that is because Parliament is on recess at the moment. So I think they're just taking some time before they come back next week. But it is frustrating to not have heard from them, given that we've been out in the streets for these last few days and are, causing our front page news. I think it goes to show that they might be very nervous about us. They view us as being a threat, so they really need to. They're working out what they want to, how they should respond to it, because they admit themselves that climate change is a massive threat.
Do you feel confident, though, coming back to the people that, and I appreciate your apology, and I think the apology has been made by several of Extinction Rebellion members, of saying, look, we really don't want to do this, but it's the only way we feel we can make that point. Do you believe that you as an organisation have been clear enough with what your aims are? Because I guess with any, especially a direct action approach, you want people to be crystal clear of what you actually want. And a lot of people are saying, yeah, but Emma Thompson, you used an airplane. Are you saying, for example, no one should be using airplanes? Are you saying, for example, everybody needs to be vegetarian? What is the message, and is it clear enough?
I think we have 3 very clear demands.
Go on.
So in terms of, we don't want to set any clear policies. I'll explain why in a bit. So our first demand is that the government works alongside the media to tell the truth about the situation we're in, because not enough people know about this. They don't talk about this in their day-to-day lives. They simply do not know that their future is at threat. Our second demand is to reach a net zero carbon economy by 2025, alongside reversing the biodiversity crisis that we're in, which is more ambitious than alternative policies, but it's possible and it is entirely necessary right now. And the third demand is to make a citizens' assembly to have discussions led by experts to decide on the policies that we need to do. We're being very humble in that. Extinction Rebellion don't have the answers to this. This is such a great threat that we cannot draw up a concrete list of policies that everyone has to sign up to. We all need to have this conversation with each other and decide what the best way to avert this crisis is. We need to change our democracy and, just get ourselves out of this terrible situation.
Okay. Sam, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming in. And what are the plans now? Can you tell us? Are there more protests? Is it going to continue, or have we seen the end of it?
Oh, it's definitely going to continue.
Over this weekend?
I mean, yeah, it's the bank holiday weekend. People are off work. We're expecting thousands more people to turn up today and tomorrow. So it's only getting started. I'd just like to quickly mention as well an incredible action that took place this morning. So the world's media basically splashed this morning that Extinction Rebellion were planning to shut down Heathrow. Which we were planning to do some swarming, but there was a leak by The Sun on that. And us as Extinction Rebellion Youth decided to do our own autonomous action in light of that. And we went down to Heathrow earlier today and held up a banner on the side of the road saying, "Are we the last generation?" And we went down, and it was the most incredible display of raw emotion I've ever been part of in my life.
In what way? From people passing by, or from the people who were there?
From the people who were there. So we had 8 under 18-year-olds holding the banner and probably 10 others surrounding, and pretty much everyone was in tears at where we're at as people. We also faced arrest there. We had about twice as many police down as children, which shows how worried they are about us.
Sorry, I know I'm eating into my time. We've got to go to the half-hour headlines. But have you not had any abuse from drivers? I mean, I was in Piccadilly Circus where you were stationed yesterday, and before you came on, we were talking off air. But I saw one of your colleagues sort of be bumped by a bus he was preventing from. Have you not been having abuse from drivers and from passers-by? Have you?
Understandably, there have been some, upset people travelling about, especially taxi drivers. They have been caught up in the fray, and as I've said, I'm very sorry about that. But I'd say most of the conversations we have with drivers who we are disrupting have been overwhelmingly positive. I honestly think that we have reached a critical point in history. People are now talking about this. They're now waking up, and we can get out of it.